So, hello and welcome to another episode of Noise and Silve's Head. This is supposed to be like a scary Halloween episode, but I'm not really sure what's wrong. I'm just not feeling it at the moment, but I'm gonna go ahead and read some of the scary stories that was sent to me by two of my friends, and as well as stories from two members of the Trese Facebook page. If you heard of Trese recently, it's because of Netflix decided to create an animated series out of it, and most of the fans, including me, is excited to see how it goes. And from what I know, it was supposed to come out this year, but just because of the whole crazy stuff, it didn't. And it's now been started to show or to start in January 2020, I guess. I have to double check, but it's going to be next year. So I miss posting an episode of the podcast on November 6 and 7, 6 for the audio version and 7 for the video version. It was because when the time I was supposed to record, which was a week before, which was November, let me just open my calendar, which was supposed to be on November 1, there was a storm. I didn't have electricity that day, and I was able to try and record something using my action cam, but it didn't really work well, so I'm scrapping that idea. It was supposed to be like scary and all that. So we're gonna talk about, or I'm gonna tell you about, read stories that was given to me by my friends. So these are instances that may or may not be scary to others, or maybe, I don't know. I do believe in ghosts in terms of, or ghosts or spirits. I'm not into the, how do I explain this? I believe there's another world other than us, or another dimension, but I'm not really into, I'm gonna put all my buckets into, I believe in that, and I'll follow that. I'm just open to the idea. Alright, so the first story I'm going to talk about will be from Kurama. If you heard that name before, I think we mentioned it once during the Otome podcast. This happened to her during a retreat, and so here it goes. The first day was uneventful. Nothing really happened, but at night was a different story. So we decided to stay in one room because of scary stories that we heard about the place. But when this particular incident happened, we were basically just talking about Cardcaptor Sakura. So in one bed there was 4 of us, me, Eugene, and 2 other of my friends. I was leaning on the wall, and Eugene was leaning on a sliding door. Suddenly, Eugene moved away from the sliding door and basically just bent over the bed. So I decided to pin her down and then basically take her place from leaning on the sliding door. And then when I was the one leaning on the sliding doors, I felt something hit the door and I basically just dismissed that. But it happened again, and it was a lot stronger. It felt like a hand hit at the glass door. The problem was our room was on the second floor, and that sliding door goes through a balcony, and we know no one is there. There was no other way to get into that balcony but through the door where I was leaning on. So that made me scream, and then we went out the room. And then so we let time pass, so just to lessen the tension, and then we went back into the room. Eugene told me the reason why she bent down and moved away from the door because she also felt something hit the door, and she didn't want to say anything because she didn't want to scare me and the other two that was with us. Okay, so that was the end of the story, and reading it, I'm glad I don't have a balcony, but I'm at the second floor and I don't lean on my door. So yeah. But yeah, I guess I'm not sure why, but retreat houses have weird, scary stories like this. I know I had one before. During a retreat, we were told that there was a nun that walks around and checks the dormitories to make sure that everyone was sleeping. But at the same time, I was also told that that nun didn't have a head. I didn't see it during our retreat, which was a good thing. But yeah, that's something I don't really want to see. I mean, it would be fascinating to actually see it, but I know I would be dead scared to see it. So the next story is from Silve. He has his own Facebook page, I'll link it. So here it goes. This happened in our house in Poznan. Atel's door used to be my uncle's. Beside this door was the entrance to two houses with doors facing each other. And you can see everything if you are staying at this store. One afternoon, I was looking after the store. The kid from one of the houses was playing hide and seek with the other kids in the area. Then the kid went inside their house and hid in their restroom. I waited for him to become bored of waiting for the others to find him and just come out of his hiding place. After a while, I heard the other kids playing something else. So I decided to check up on the kid. So I went to the house to tell him that the others are already playing something else, and that they are no longer looking at for him. But I didn't get any reply. So I entered the house and looked for him in the restroom, but he was not there. When I went back to the store, he was there and playing with the other kids. I mean, if you know the kid well, and there's only one entrance to the store, I mean from the store to the two doors and the houses, Silve should have seen him go out, but he didn't, because as he advised, he was watching or checking on the kid. So that one is pretty weird for me, especially if it's really just a short span of time when he decided to go and check on him. I think this happens though, but not in a supernatural way. Sometimes I would have instances that I think somebody is with me on the second floor, and then I would go out and start talking, and then realize that I was alone. So yeah, that's not scary for me, I guess. But this story is particularly weird for the fact that there's only one entrance to the two houses, which was the side to the store. So, is it common though? Does anyone have something similar? If you do, just let me know as well. It's already kind of weird that I'm talking to myself at the moment. Okay, so the next few stories are from the people from the Trese Facebook page. If you are a fan of this series and you want to learn more about Filipino folklores, ghost stories in the Philippines, or urban legends, I suggest you go check the Trese Facebook page. But at the moment, there's this crazy posting memes and jokes about that. Just the two screenshots that Netflix released. It is really fun right there at the moment. This next story was given to me by Nin. She has her own podcast called Frightening Alarming Real Life Tale Show, or FARTS for short. So yeah, go check that out. I'll link it in the description as well for you to check on your own time. I haven't listened to any of them at the moment because at the moment sleep is important. So let's start the story. Oh my gosh, where did I put it? Okay, here it goes. My experience was back in elementary, where a lot of kids run to the auditorium. I saw my friends from the other classes, so I followed them. Teachers were furious, but when they got to the auditorium, it was locked, and people were talking about seeing different people inside. I didn't see anyone except a girl in a Girl Scout uniform sitting by the fourth to the last row. I thought nothing of it and left. But a few moments when I did, people began screaming and backed away from the door. I ran to peek into a small glass window and saw that the previously arranged chairs were scattered, and the girl was nowhere in sight. After a while, the old janitor arrived and opened the auditorium, went inside to check if there were any kids hiding. He found none and told us to go back to our classes. Okay, then first of all, thank you for sharing that story with me. I don't know, schools are so open to this kind of stories, don't you think so? I know there are some talks or stories about some schools being built over cemeteries, and that's why you have ghosts there. So yeah, the funny thing about this story is that there was a lot of people that were there and they were seeing different things. So maybe it's just people trying to chime in that they're seeing something or someone, I guess. But yeah, that's so scary to see that arranged chairs would be scattered all over after just a few minutes of you walking away from that. Oh yeah, thanks for sharing that. I mean, I do apologize. I don't sound, or I don't give justice to these stories. I don't know how to deliver them well, but hopefully it gives you that chill as well when I read them. I still get the chills on my spine, even though I've read this a few times now. So The next one, the next few stories all came from Chloe. She is also part of the Trese Group. I'll try to summarize the story she gave me because it's a lot, and it still does scare me to read it. Just the premise. The story happened in their townhouse. I don't think she still lives there. And yeah, okay, I'll go ahead and read this. I lived in this townhouse up until the age of 9. And I personally have never experienced or believed anything that my mom, my nanny, or my neighbor has said. There were whispers, of course, that in Unit 1, a lady in white would often appear on the second floor window late at night, and that is according to some men that would stay out drinking. Or in the playground/park area, that the girl would often be seen around. But most of the adults, agree that Unit 7 was the most disturbing. No one lived there, and it was always cold inside. There was a house blessing party held in the unit once. My mother said everyone felt uncomfortable, chilled, and suffocated. One time, my mom got really scared when she was walking past that unit. She was carrying my 3-year-old brother at that time. My brother suddenly turned around and asked who the man was, pointing into the empty doorway of Unit 7. My mom, scared, she turned around and went back home. Most of the incidents, I was told, involved my brother for a time. In our house, Unit 4, our nanny would often catch my brother giggling and playing with someone. One time, she heard him talking in the room, but when she opened the door, he was just facing the wall. When asked who he was talking to, my brother said a friend. My mom also got concerned when one time she was doing her hair in front of the dressing mirror, with my brother sitting on the table facing the bedroom. He started giggling, and he was trying to peek and hide and would giggle at nothing. My mom froze and looked into the mirror. She couldn't see anything, and yet she looked at my brother and he was playing peekaboo with something. When asked, my brother said it was his friend. Okay. Our nanny would also complain about our intercom being broken because it would randomly ring, but when answered, there was only breathing. It happened a lot. There was this one instance that it did became a bit dangerous. It was during Christmas. My brother was sitting next to the Christmas tree when he suddenly looked up into the empty staircase and waved. We all saw that. Then, the next thing we knew, the tree was falling. Our nanny managed to snatch my brother away from the falling Christmas tree. My mom yanked me back, and my dad tried to catch the falling Christmas tree. Thankfully, no one got hurt. So sometime later, we moved out. I was 9, and it would be years before we would hear about another incident. Whoa, that place. For the fact that there are, 3 units with 3 different stories, it's like, and that playground. So let's continue. Years later, I would eventually return to my old house. Once was for a film project I had in college, and the other for a similar project with my friends. My film project was a short horror film. This would not end well. And I decided to use the old house because it fits the setting. And we still own the place. We never rented it out. So our film group went there to film the entire day up until late at night. There were 3 crew members, 2 actors, and a parent. When we arrived, I went to the second floor living room to set up and let my groupmates gather the rest of the rented equipment. I got concerned that they weren't handling the equipment carefully as they were noisy. A lot of banging and clanging, and any damage meant money out of our pockets. So I rushed back down, told them to be careful and not to be noisy as we don't want to disturb the neighbors. Good point. And they told me that they thought I was the one making the noises on the second floor. I told them I heard the noise from downstairs. We got quiet for a bit, but I shook it off and told everyone to set up quickly. Soon enough, halfway through filming, and it was near nighttime, when one of the actors' parents arrived. It was a little weird because she gave her daughter a necklace and overheard her say that she should have not left the necklace at home. Filming resumed, and I was standing by the stairs with the mother who was looking down the stairs. Then she turned around and started talking to me, asking me who owned the house. I said it was ours. Then she asked if I knew about the woman. Of course, I did not know what she was talking about, but I did tell him about my brother's playmate. But she told me that there was a woman on the stairs, on the stairs, and she looked angry. I did believe her, but I had to finish the project. So I just put that at the back of my mind at that time. We were almost done when the glass table that the actor was sitting around cracked. We turned off all the lights to see what happened. We thought that maybe the lights were too hot, that's why the glass cracked. But the glass wasn't hot, it was pretty thick too. The good thing though is that we were done with that scene. So that was fine. All that's left is to clean up and inform my parents about the table. We were packing up, and I had to make sure that all the camera pieces were complete, and they were. I double checked, and as soon as we were outside packing the things into the car, I also made sure that the actors were okay because they seemed spooked. I asked them what's up, and they keep looking around and whispered to me that there were a lot of them here. I knew what they were talking about, so I asked them what they saw. They said that there was a girl with a beret in her hair standing by the park entrance. And in Unit 1, there was a woman in the second floor window. And Unit 7, which was already occupied, had a lock. But the filming was done, and I guess she didn't have to worry about it. So, okay, let's continue the story. So once they wrapped up, she went home. It was really late. It was past 12 midnight. So I wasn't expecting a call from my mom. They were in the hospital. My grandfather was sick, and she called to tell me that he passed away. I asked what time, and I didn't want to believe it. But my grandfather passed around at the same time that the glass table broke. I told my mom, and she said she wasn't surprised. It was a bad omen, according to her. After that, I never thought of that old house again, until the next group project arrived. I also found out a piece of the camera equipment went missing, and I had to pay the fine. You know, that's the scariest part of it. I mean, you double checked already, so what piece did you bring out from the house? I'm sorry. I don't want to put that in different. It just feels weird that you double checked. That's where I'm at. The piece of. It's just I have things that I've lost before, or you know that whole feeling that you're looking for something and you cannot find it, and then when you don't need it, it just shows up. So yeah, I don't like when my things disappear or appear and then disappear. Also, I don't like paying fines. Oh, okay. So before I proceed, it's already 12 midnight and almost 1 o'clock, and I'm scared to read the second part because I've read this before, and this one's crazy. This is the part where there are a lot of incidents that happened, and it wasn't coming from her end. It was coming from the group she brought in to do the film. Okay. So time passed, and a bunch of my friends had their film project to do, and they knew about my house. So they asked if they could use it. I was fine with it and took them to film, but during the day only. I told them that we had to leave as soon as it gets dark. So everyone went off and set up their own things. I went upstairs to clean up in case they need the second floor for a scene. Then I went down to grab some stuff and head back upstairs. And I see that the entire second floor living room was a mess. The couch cushion was strewn all over the floor. The seats were turned around. The table skewered. It looked like a tantrum. I got annoyed and marched back down to ask if any one of them went up to the second floor to mess it up for a scene that they might be doing or an idea that they want to see in the film. But no one knew what I was talking about, and they had sworn that no one has gone upstairs. It was only me. Okay, fine. Ghost tantrum. I ignored it. Cleaned everything up like it didn't happen. The rest of the day was fine and peaceful, or so I assumed. Until two of my friends told me what happened when they were alone in the house. Friend number one, let's call her Jem, was alone upstairs exploring, and she heard giggling and saw two pair of bare feet run up the third floor. She thought it was one of the guys and called his name. But the answer came from downstairs, and she knew the rest of us was in the park area, so she ran. I would run too. Next is friend number 2. Let's call her Maria, who took a nap in the park and did not know that we had gone out for snacks across the town halls. Maria woke up and assumed that we would be inside the house filming. She told us she heard our voices from the house, but she could not find us. She thought that we were upstairs. She had checked every room until the last one in the third floor. She swore she could hear our voices laughing and joking on the other side. She was scared at that point, but she opened the door anyway, and no one was there. She ran back down just in time for us coming back from the snack break. I remember seeing her run out of the house, and she screamed when she saw us. We wrapped up the filming and left. I asked my mom about the townhouse history when I got home. She said that when the units were being built, the construction crew found bones in the site. Apparently, the place was used as a garrison during the Spanish era. I mean, I just hope people tell this to me when I decide to buy a house or something, because I don't want to be dealing with this. So yeah, this is similar to how schools are. I hope it's not true. I hope it's just a random story that got around the crew or something. But yeah, that's one thing I don't like about buildings not being told to me what happened or what was the land used for before. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that one. She did give me one last story. So thank you very much to Chloe for sharing the stories. Thank you to and as well as thank you to the others that shared it. So thank you very much for making this episode happen. Okay. Oh, so messages. The stories were sent over Facebook Messenger. So my last story isn't a ghost story. It is about an old tree at the back of our current house. Oh, current. I'm sorry, I'm scared. I know it sounds weird. It sounds weird when I speak about how I'm scared. I say I'm getting goosebumps. But when I say chills, it does send chills at the back of my in my spine. So it has been there long before anyone could remember. It wasn't a big tree, and we thought it died a long time ago, but because it doesn't produce leaves anymore. But my mom, being superstitious, made sure that the tree remained as it was. I remember as a kid, I thought that I would give the tree some food so it would have leaves. I had an avocado seed that had sprout growing, and I placed it in the opening base of the tree. I gave it water. Okay. Oh, okay. I had an avocado seed, that I had sprout, and I placed it in the opening at the base of the tree. I gave it some water, and that was that. I would check in from time to time to see what happened to the seed. I saw that the sprout had grown into the tree, and I thought that a new tree would replace the old one, and it would become an avocado tree. But the sprout dried up inside sometime later. The tree grew leaves again. Okay, it wasn't dead, and it just needed nourishment. My nanny was the one that would often water the tree, but she did it weirdly, because the tree had a mouth near the top of its trunk before the branches spread out, and that is where it would drink water from the hose my nanny would put in. It grew leaves, flowers, and the branches expanded. One of the maids found the expanding branches troublesome, and it was in the way of her doing the laundry. So she decided to cut some of it off. She did not tell anyone, but over the next few days, her hands started drying up. Her skin started cracking. We gave her all kinds of moisturizers, medications, but none of it worked. The cracks began bleeding, and it looks like an old tree bark. My mom asked if she has touched the tree, and the maid confessed to cleaning some of the branches because they were getting too big. My mom concluded that she has offended whatever was in the tree. So she told her to prepare an offering and apologize. So she offered some lambanog and asked for forgiveness from the tree. I'm not sure what she did with the lambanog, if she simply left it there or poured it into the tree. But the next day, the cat finally stopped bleeding, and after a week, her hands went back to normal, and she stayed away from the tree after that. So that's the last story. I mean, the tree stories scares me a lot because I do live in an area with already old trees, probably older than me, because my family has been living here for the longest time. And now it's raining. So yeah. Also, yeah, that took longer than I expected. So thank you for listening to the podcast. I hope you got chills as well from the stories. If you have questions, let me know in the description, or just comment them on the YouTube channel, or comment them on my Facebook page. Everything would be listed. Again, thank you very much for the people that shared their stories. I know it was really abrupt. I mean, it was quick. I think I asked for the stories within one day, and then they gave me the stories like the next day, and it took a while for me to do this episode. So yeah, thank you very much for your effort in typing those stories and sharing it with them. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you do like scary stories, I hope you do. If you have other stories you want to share, comment them below. Thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. Yes, that is from the Good Mythical Beast YouTube channel. And with that, I say